time, real challenges, real people, real solutions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are here. It is the 30 for 30 female entrepreneurs in the life and times. What goes on behind the scenes, like real time, like just now? Yes, real time, because I try to make sure that I record everything, because it's not one dynamic female entrepreneur that I've had on this show that I do not have people say, send me the replay. I didn't see it, or I missed it, or I need to take notes, or I need to see it one more again, because I have to realize that I am not the only one that go through these challenges when it comes to being a female entrepreneur. So today, ladies and gentlemen, because we do have some gents that watch, you know that, right?
Oh, that's amazing.
Right. And so the funny thing is that sometimes we have more men on some of the episodes than women, even though it's like the times of a female entrepreneur. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking you behind the scenes of 30 dynamic female entrepreneurs and what really goes on, the good, the bad, the not so rock star-ish, and what really happens. Because sometimes we show up on stages and we look good, we got the glam squad on deck, and the people always think that we have it all together. They don't know, like 2 minutes before running on the stage, that we stressing out and having a temper tantrum, right? So we want to make sure that those that are female entrepreneurs and those that, aspire to be a female entrepreneur, that you may go through a little something. So tonight on this episode of Life and Times of a Female Entrepreneur, I have not only my good girlfriend here, but Miss Stefani Morrow. I am super excited that you're here, girl. Like super excited. You're one of my faves that I like to watch on social media, because I tell everybody, like I told you earlier, I thought you was gonna come with the red hair. It's like I look for this hair, like this hair, right?
Well, you didn't want to look today. You talk about the not so rock stars times. That will be this week. So you keep a different brim all week.
Yeah, that's one of the things, because you're always so stylish, always killing it. And every time you take a photo, I'm like, damn, she's always looking good. But before we get started, Stefani, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell people what it is that you do about your business and your brand, and how you help the people, the masses.
All right. Lyric, I'm so excited to be here tonight. Really, we are, of course, an hour behind. So here in the great state of Texas, fireworks are getting ready to happen. We're prepping for the holiday tomorrow. There's excitement. There's tons of things going on. But I was able to pull away to be here with you tonight in the middle of all of the 4th of July pomp and circumstance. So I'm so excited to be here. But as Lyric said, guys, I'm Stefani Morrow. I serve as the CEO and co-founder of Transformation Living Systems, which was founded by my husband, Gene, and I. And it is actually a personal development and training company. We're both former educators, almost 40 years of combined experience. And so 2 years ago, we founded Transformation Living Systems as a tool to really broaden our reach. One of the things that we found when we were working in schools is that we spent a great deal of time working with the families, working with the adults, even sometimes working with our teachers about the mindset, about whatever the situation was. And so we really came to this conclusion and said, man, if we can help people to really choose a different perspective about who they are and where they are and some of the things that are happening around them, it could really, really, really push a change in performance for people. And so we really set out as transformational architects that we like to call ourselves, is really helping people to really design or really craft these transformative experiences. Change is necessary, but change can be very scary. And so sometimes people want to create different experiences and they just don't know where to start. So we often say at Transformation Living Systems that everyone has something in their life that they want to change. They just need to know how. And so we really have built a lot of our work around this issue of mindset mastery, the book, the courses, the classes, We've got a conference coming up in the spring of 2018 that we're working on. So that's kind of where we are with Transformation Living Systems.
Right. So now you are a mom, right? I know you have like these little people.
Yeah, little people. We have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. Super excited. My son is 5, Mason, and he's starting kindergarten. So I'm super excited. I think I'm more excited about that than anything. Then he needs to go to school, and you're gonna be there all day long. And you're taking out the naps. So all this running around at night. Kindergarten is a beautiful thing. So, and then my daughter Madison, who's 7, she'll be starting 2nd grade. And so, of course, a lot of what we do, why we do what we do, is because we really, really want to not only leave a legacy. You know, you hear people talking about leaving legacies, and that's great, but you got to be gone to leave something. And I'm not trying to leave right now. So I'm really focused on living the legacy.
Oh, wow. I like
that. You cannot leave a legacy that you've not sufficiently lived. And so we're really committed to living this legacy, really showing our kids what it looks like to live all out, to live, you know, on purpose, to live in purpose, to do the things that you love, all those kinds of things. And, you know, honestly, we missed some of those lessons growing up. You know, we were in that generation where it was go to school, go to college, get a good job, and that was about that was about it. And so we did those things, and then we still find ourselves at the end of something and really looking to other opportunities. So I really want, if there was one thing I could really live before my children and leave with them, find the thing in life that you were created to do and do that thing as much as you possibly can.
I like that. You know, I never thought about live the legacy. Like, you know.
You have to live it.
Yeah. And, who knew? We just don't think like that because society has kind of conditioned us to think differently. And so therefore, we just kind of roll with the punches. We don't even think past, like, maybe this ain't correct. Maybe this is not accurate.
It doesn't feel good. Just something didn't feel good about the path that I was on. And a lot of times, you know, I left the principalship almost 4 years ago this summer. And when I left, my children were 1 and 3. And my colleagues thought I was crazy because I made the leap. Now, you talk about the not so pretty side of entrepreneurship. When I left the principalship, I did not set out to become an entrepreneur. I actually went to work for an insurance company. I had a nice little home-based, you know, position. I was flexible. I could take my kids to school and all this great stuff. And after 15 months, the division that I was working in was closed. And so I found myself again in life at an impasse, and I had to make some decisions. Do you reach due to what you think is comfortable? Do you go back to the hole that you just really crawled out of, that you finally found the courage and the way to crawl out of? Do you go back there? You know, there's nothing against education. It's just that my season in that space was up. I met great people there. I learned a lot of great lessons. You know, learned a lot of how I really shaped my leadership paradigm. All that came from that time there. You know, teaching, coaching, training, that's what we did. That's what I'm doing now.
Right.
So I don't negate the time that I spent there, but I'm glad that I was able to acknowledge that I didn't feel like I fit there anymore. And instead of just moving past that feeling, saying, hey, something's out of alignment, something's out of sync. And that one really discovery process really kind of led me on this path to entrepreneurship that I found myself on now.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's go back a minute. So you're a principal at a school, right? Is it elementary or middle?
Elementary school. I did time in middle school for 1 year.
Wait a minute, time out. Did you say you did time?
I did time.
Time in jail?
I did time in middle school for 1 year, and all of the 16 years of my experience were in elementary schools. I'm a fast learner. So I did time for 1 year, and I was back at the elementary level.
Middle school is a whole nother beast. If you never taught middle school, never even, it's different. And it's only them few little years right there. It's like this outer space zone. These kids.
It was like being on a different planet.
I'm telling you, because I used to be in education too. And I remember having my my fifth and sixth graders transitioned to middle school, and they still wanted to come to my program. I said, well, you're too old. They were like, no. So I said, look, these are the conditions. The minute you change, you're out of here. I won't change, I promise.
That's what they all say.
That's what they all say. So I can only imagine. So when you say during time, I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah. Let's go back a minute. You're a principal in the eyes of America. You don't work all year. You got the summers off. Y'all always at school for something.
That's a lie.
Spring break, Christmas break, all of these. Now, what did your family say when you said, I'm out of here? Did they say,
well, the really weird thing about it is my husband was a principal at the time too. So we were both school principals, full-time campus principals, with these two small children at home.
Yes.
And there was just something that began to feel, I felt conflicted. I'm like, this is weird because I'm spending more time with the children at the school than I am with my own children. And so that was the first indicator. And I was like, I know people do this, but I'm not willing to chart this course for myself. I don't like the way it feels. I'm here for everything that happens with your kid, but I miss it with my own. I don't even want to set my life up to play out like this. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what's next. I don't even know what's on the other side. But I know that where I am this place doesn't fit me anymore. And, the principalship is not what it used to be. It isn't all-consuming, it is all-consuming. It really never goes, never, ever goes away. And I just wasn't willing to make that exchange. And some people have done it, and, hats off to them. But for me, it was not my choice. Mm-hmm. And I said, God, if you provide a way out, I promise you, I'll take it. And literally, I came across this position from some people that I really didn't know. They created a position for me to go to work for this insurance company. Wow. And I knew there was a bridge. Even when I announced that I was leaving, you know how you break up with someone and you take responsibility for the breakup? That's kind of how it was, I remember even going to talk to my superintendent. I was like, hey, it's not you, it's me. It's not breaking up can be hard to do, but I remember having that. It was so tough for me to have that conversation, but it was about me. It wasn't, no one had done anything. I wasn't in any trouble. There was no scandal. Nothing happened. My husband always says, it's like a pair of shoes that you were wearing that fit one day and the next day they didn't fit. And so instead of walking around in shoes for the next 10, 12, 15 years that were hurting my feet, I decided to take the shoes off. And I thought whatever happens on the other side is what happens. But my colleagues, they thought I was crazy. They would say, well, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Or what if that doesn't work out? And I said, well, what if it does? And what if I forfeit an opportunity to do something amazing because I'm afraid to take a chance or a risk? And then, what I really told them, Lyric, and this is how I got them off me. I said, the worst thing that could happen is I could come back and get a job like you. And I said, if that's the worst thing that could happen to me, I mean, seriously, and this has been a journey full of challenges. But I said, if that is the worst thing that could happen to me, I'll take my chances. They said, well, you're going to lose your seat on the bus. You worked so hard to get here and you have to start over. And I said, I'll get back in line if that's what I have to do. But I felt there was just a pulling. I often, even in teaching and training, I teach people the destiny is a pull. There's like something that's drawing you. And sometimes you can articulate what it is, but there's almost like a force or something that is just tugging at you and it doesn't go away. I have good ideas and I have what I call God ideas. The God ideas are the ones that continue to tug. And this feeling never went away. There was always this tugging and I made the leap.
Wow. And I know it's people that said, this girl's crazy. She got them two little children and she done left her good government job.
Good job. Good job. That's what they say, good job.
Yeah. So, over here in DC, it's like your good government job. So it's like, I know, and look, family and friends, they're the first ones to say, wait a minute, hold up. But the minute you make it, I knew you had it in you, girl.
I always knew you were going to be something.
I knew you was gonna be something. And see, you show up like a true rock star when you show up. Your clothes, your outfits. So I know they're like, ooh, she has arrived.
But you know, it's amazing because you know, and I say it all the time, the journey has not been without challenges. There have been lots and lots of challenges. But there's nothing like getting clarity.
Yeah.
And for me, in this space that I'm in, I don't care what is happening in my life, what is happening around me. When I take the stage, I have total clarity about the assignment that I'm on for that particular time and space. And so it's like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like athletes when they get into their zone or whatever is happening, you disconnect from whatever else is happening. And when you're in that space, you're in that space.
You don't even see anything sometimes.
You don't even really remember. You know, I had a lady that reached out to me about working with me, and I spoke at an event last summer. This was last year, the summer of 2016.
Okay.
She set up the clarity call and said, we're talking, and she was talking to me about all these things that I had said. I said to myself, girl, I said that. I don't even remember. But it really, I mean, seriously, she had been carrying it. You know, she had bought one of my books and had been studying it and, you know, all this different stuff. But I was just in a zone. I don't even remember half of the things that she said that I said that really spoke to her and resonated with her. And if she says I said it, I'm pretty sure that I said it. You know, there's almost like this force or something that's greater than you that really, you know, really moves you or really inspires you when you're doing that thing that you love. And that's a powerful place.
Right. Now, I know you're married to Gene, your wonderful husband. Now, was Gene still working when you said, I'm out of here, boo?
He was. But it's so crazy because, you know, a couple of years later, he followed suit. So he finally walked away from, you know, public education after 20 years. He had been a campus principal for 10 years. And, you know, he just found himself in this space and place that didn't feel good anymore. Then I realized we can't be led around by our feelings, but on the other hand, we have to be led around by our feelings. And when something is out of sync, when something is out of harmony, when something is out of alignment, you have to be tuned in and tapped. You have to respond to that. And so he found himself in a space where it was time for transformation, and he walked away. And they thought he was crazy, and they said that he had become the same kind of crazy that I had become.
Now you're drunk the same Kool-Aid.
He left the good job. Now you didn't turn around and left your good job.
Y'all crazy together.
Y'all crazy. Y'all were meant to be. Y'all crazy together. But it was a good time for him because once again, really getting clarity about where it is that you want to be, how you really want to show up in the world, how you want to leverage your time, how you want to, you know, leverage your expertise and your experience. And he ended up going to work for a staff development company, working in principal leadership, which is something that he was very, very passionate about, really helping to train and coach and grow brand new principals. You know, he had been in that space for 10 years.
Right.
And since had just been kind of thrown in really to figure things out. And he thought, man, you know, there's all kinds of research and study that shows that, you know, urban school principals are in one door 1 year and they're out the next door, you know, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So that turnover is just, is part of one of the challenges in our schools today is the high turnover. And it is because, one of the pieces is because people don't have the type of support and training that they really need to really make it in those tough environments, especially in large urban schools. It's a different beast. It's a different set of challenges. And so he's always felt passionately about being in a place to help other principals that were now in the space that he found himself in. And so once again, through really kind of stepping away and getting clarity about what was next, he came across this opportunity, and he works with principals now all over the state of Texas. He absolutely loves his work. Had not been able to say that in a really, 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 I can speak
And really mean it.
and really mean it. He loves the work that he's engaged in.
It really mean. Now, I've had the honor of having you guys in the studio. So I've seen how you guys work together as a husband and wife team when it comes to really transforming lives. So I've had the opportunity to work with you guys. And so I see how passionate you are about helping others. Now, lady, how hard or how easy is it to work with your husband? It looked good when you guys were in the studio. You know.
Believe it or not, it's actually, I hear all kinds of horror stories about, you know, being in business with your husband. I think one of the things for us is that so much of our professional background is the same. We have the same experiences. So a lot of times when he comes with an idea, I come and I put the other part on the idea. Or when I start an idea, he brings the next layer to the puzzle. And I think because we're in the personal development and training space, and so much of that is really born from our experience as educators, there's really never the tussle in a sense. You know, we tend to go pretty smoothly in the same direction. And I do think a lot of that is because we have almost exact experiences. You know, he was a principal a lot longer than I was. But like I said, I did 17 years in schools. He did 20 years. And so there's so much that we saw and experienced that really parallel, you know, each other. So when we say, hey, let's do this, or here's an idea, or here's a need, or, you know, here may be, you know, a market that's untapped or whatever, we tend to be able to move pretty smoothly in, you know, in one direction.
Right. And that's not the case with everybody. Well, let me say this. First of all, it's not the case with a husband and wife actually working together, achieving the same goal in an entrepreneur space. Usually one person is an entrepreneur, the other person has a job and looking at the entrepreneur like, you lost your mind. You ain't made no money again.
Yeah. It's a process. It's a process.
You ain't made no money again. Boo. Babe. I'm just saying about this entrepreneur thing. So you are definitely blessed.
Yes.
That's not your situation.
Yeah. And, you know, part of this entrepreneurial journey for me has been able, it has been able to provide options. So I have options to the things that I really want to do. A bulk of our revenue in business right now comes from educational consulting. I absolutely love educational consulting and training. That right now, that's about 85 or 90% of our business. So when we really look at the books and the coaching and the training, that's a very small piece to our business. And it's growing, you know, it is growing, but the educational consulting, you know, I love because I have the flexibility. You know, I can literally go in a week and make what it takes some people a month to make. That's not, I mean, that I don't know how to describe it. I'm blessed. You know, the beauty of it is people will go, they will take heat from an outsider before they will an insider. So you only go in and reiterate the message that the leadership of that organization has already been preaching and teaching. But the mere fact that I'm an outsider, I'm received a lot better. Ears open, eyes open, receptive mode on. Somebody else.
And those are the same things you was telling your teachers when you were inside the building as the principal, and they weren't listening.
Yeah. So I you know, so I'm you know, I'm very flexible, so that I can work the different parts of the business. Like I said, educational consulting and training is the really big piece right now. But if I'm, you know, scheduled to speak at a conference, I can do that without having to call into an employer to say, hey, I've got to be gone today. Or, you know, I've got a sick kid today. Or, you know what, I want to go to lunch with my husband today. I don't want to come to work. Whatever that looks like, just things that were never, ever possible in the other structures, we now find possible for ourselves. And that is priceless.
Yeah, the freedom is priceless, especially with you having young children, being able to go to all of their games and recitals?
Everything.
And
You're expected to be at everything.
yeah, exactly. Now, your mom, your wife, you're an entrepreneur, and you're still growing in that space. Somewhere around the beginning, was there a time where Stephanie, you said, you know what? I'm going to get my job back. You started looking online, searching.
I did very early on in the process because I wasn't clear. I didn't have clarity. And so just through the panic and natural reaction, I said, you know what, I'll just go get a job. I mean, I've got 2 degrees. I know principals. I know superintendents. I can get a job. Remember I told them the worst thing I can do is come back and get a job. Well, Gary, nobody ever called me back. Me, right? The doors that I thought would just naturally open if I just tapped on them.
Yeah.
And that experience was actually very clarifying for me because I understood after that my goal, my motion was all forward. There was nothing behind me that was for me. So even when I tried to retreat, crickets, not a phone call, not a, hey, we got this position for you, or you can come. And I left, I had great relationships in the schools and the districts that I worked in.
Mm-hmm.
My superintendent told me, you ever need to come back, always got a job here. But nobody called me back. Mm-hmm. And I saw that 2 ways. I thought, man, maybe something happened that I didn't know about. Maybe I wasn't as well liked as I thought I was. Or there's really something ahead, and I really need to press ahead because we always retreat. And I think, that issue of being able to easily retreat can almost keep us stuck and keep us underperforming. We don't really have to play all out or go all in because we know we can always go back. And when going back is no longer an option, you become a little more serious about what it takes to move forward in your business.
Right, exactly. And sometimes God won't let the doors open up. You over there tugging on it let me in. Boom, 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 boom. Let me in. And sometimes God will say, I ain't tell you go back there.
No, I felt like that's what I was doing. I'm, sending resumes and I'm doing all the stuff that job seekers do. And God was just sitting there saying, are you finished now? Now, pick those pieces up, get all the stuff up from around you, all the shattered pieces, and start walking. Nobody asked you to move backwards. All motion is to the front. And when I began to embrace the journey ahead, doors that I never knew existed began to open.
Mm-hmm. And just think, you'd have been back in that little office, running after some kids.
I wasn't going back in that mirror. I told them I wasn't coming. Because for me, it was, I really felt like my sanity was at stake. It was that had gotten that bad. The tug within me had gotten really to that point. Because I know people that ignore their feelings and stay in places and relationships and all that kind of stuff for convenience or whatever that looks like. But this was different. This was an experience or a feeling that I've never had before. And I couldn't rest from it. And
wow.
That's how I knew I had to pay attention. I had to do something. I had to take action. Because I often say that sometimes being overdue is just as dangerous as being premature. And sometimes we're in spaces and we're overdue. That can be very dangerous. And I didn't want to be in a space where I was, not able to now leave on my own volition because I'm overdue. So God allows this series of circumstances to literally push you out. I'm like, look, I'd rather leap than be pushed.
Right.
I'm standing at the edge. I'm gonna be standing at the edge of a cliff.
Right.
I'd rather jump than be pushed off. So I always kept that thought in the back of my mind. If I don't make the move, then I don't want circumstances to be created that will now force me to make the move that I had the option to make willfully from the beginning.
Right.
And I often say it's the best decision that I ever made. see my colleagues and, even parents and different people, very small community, but it is the best decision. It hadn't been easy. It hadn't always been profitable, but it was the absolute best decision because that one decision really opened up so many doors. That's how I ended up meeting you and a bunch of other, incredible people that have helped us on our journey. That one decision to make the leap. So I tell people, I love it. Les Brown says, leap and grow your wings on the way down. And that was 4 years ago, and my wings are still expanding.
Right. Because the average person, when they make that leap, though, Stephanie, they go through all type of emotional stuff, once they've left that job. First of all, the stuff that they go through to make the decision, because it first starts with the decision to leave your job that you're getting a good check for. And, a lot of us, we ain't save up no money talking about, I'm going to, quit in a year, so I'm going to start saving.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work.
The reality is when I left there, I left one job for another job. I had a job. So I didn't leave, with no parachute. I had a job. It just didn't last that long. So I had to figure out. Oh, wow. But it's so funny, Lyric, because I now look back and I realize that job was a bridge. It was temporary. It was the piece. It was the lifeline that was thrown to me to make the leap that I needed to make at the time. And so the worst thing that I could have done was to attempt to make something permanent that was meant to be temporary. It was temporary and it served its purpose. And once God got me out of the space that I was in, and now here I am, open, vulnerable, standing on this edge again, that was the only way that he could really move. The security of the job and sitting behind the desk every day, and you can't go from there to here. Mm-hmm. There's this almost this open or this vulnerability that I believe has to be created because you're not even open. When you're getting a check on the 1st and the 15th, you're not even really open to anything else. Nothing else matters. Because at the end of the day, you're going to get your check, you're going to do what you do, and you don't have to stretch yourself. You don't have to grow. You don't have to show up in a way you've never shown up before. You don't have to learn yourself. You don't have to learn your craft. You just go to work and get a check on the 1st and 15th.
Got you. Now, Stephanie, we have a couple of people on the live stream watching that are want to make this leap. But, sometimes we got this head trash that keeps going around in here. Yeah. And, female, well, I'm a single parent. I have 3 children. I got to pay my rent. I can't be homeless because, or I got an older car, it's about to break. Like, we got so many reasons of why we should not make this jump. Transformation is your business. This is what you do. And not only is it what you do, but you've also done the leap. What would you say to some of our viewers that are thinking about it or that had just took the leap and like, oh crap, what the hell did I just do?
There are lots of things that I would say about that. One is that there is no one way. There is no one formula. There is no one way. That was my particular journey. That was my way. I've heard of people who have, literally, walked away from 6-figure positions, whatever. I don't ever advocate that anyone do something that they've not really thought through or that they don't really have some type of contingency plan in place for how they're going to do certain things, especially as it relates to your basic needs. I don't ever teach that. People have asked me that. People have tried to draw me into conversations and say, please, Stephanie, give me permission to leave my job so when it blows up, I can blame you. I don't do that, so I'm very careful. What I do teach people to do is to shift the perspective from their current state to their desired state. So currently you're in a position, you're in a job that you hate, whatever that looks like. Think about that desired state and then begin to do the work to move toward that desired state.
Right.
It might look like working a job that you hate for a period of time because that job is going to fund whatever it is that's in your future. So I even teach people, change your perspective about your job. It's not the only place in the world that you'll ever be. You may not want to be there now, but view your job as a resource. View your job, as a donor.
Right.
Because it costs to show up on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does.
So begin to reframe and restructure how you view, because here's what we focus on: how much we hate where we are. And all we talk about is getting from here to there. But whatever is over there, whatever you think is there, you really got to bring here. And so I tell people, I don't teach people to quit their jobs. I teach people to find work that is meaningful, to find work that is significant, and engage in that work and do that thing. And as you do that,
yes,
life begins to open up. Opportunities begin to open up. Before you know it, you've got some choices now, whereas before you didn't have a choice. So that is the difference. So for that, for that single mom, or, even that, the married woman that, just feels like she can't do it, it's imperative that you tap in, that you get some clarity on the thing that you believe you were created and called to do, and start to do that thing right now. And that might look like doing that thing on nights and weekends.
Right.
Job during the day. I have a t-shirt that I created, I should have wore it tonight. It says work full-time on your dream. So that might look like a full-time job and a full-time dream.
You ladies hear that? Because we, and we as females, we're so strong. I always tell people, if it wasn't for us, it wouldn't be nobody on this earth, okay? We are the bee's knees. So we're so strong. We go through challenges, divorce, we hold the whole family together. We're like Superwoman. But the thing is, when it comes to ourselves,
our stuff, it becomes optional.
Optional.
What was necessary for everyone else becomes optional for you. And to me, figuring, being tuned in to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. I mean, there's like, I mean, seriously, you have to, that clarity is like air.
Right.
Really, it goes a long way. And so part of the struggle, part of the frustration is people feel like they're just on this merry-go-round, and nothing that I, like I said, nothing that I do that really matters. Nothing brings you joy. Nothing brings, a real true meaning of significant purpose. And I'm like, you find out what that thing is and begin to do more of that thing.
Yes.
You've got to do that. You've got to do that where you are. You can't wait for something to happen for you to get there. You literally have to find determine what that is, and intentionally engage in those activities. Intentionally. And so, the other part of that too is there's some work that's required. There's a little bit of extra effort that you've got to put forward. And like you said, women put it forth for everyone else, but when it comes to us, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the energy.
Exactly.
People tell me they don't have time, I don't buy that anymore. What I've translated that to mean, it's not that I don't have the time, they don't have the inspiration. Because when you have been sufficiently inspired to do a thing, you will find the time.
Yeah. And how bad do you want it? That's another thing. How bad do you want it?
You'll find the time.
When you want it bad enough, you will put yourself first. But we just don't do it for some reason. Everybody else is important. Besides that, we don't even find time, Stephanie, to do a regular routine of a hobby. We don't have time for a hobby. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to go, to a class or, whatever that is. You never,
I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time. And I also, encourage women to test themselves. Give yourself the space and the grace to determine what your stuff is. You may be right on the first time, you may not, but give yourself permission to keep testing yourself, to experiment with what it is that really lights your fire or turns you on. If you don't know what that is, you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to know what that thing is.
So they probably got to really get still.
Absolutely. It's the first part of the process. It's the first part of the process, is really being able to gain clarity, is minimizing and eliminating all of the distractions and all the things that are pulling at you. Because literally, if you can stay distracted, you'll stay unproductive. And everything that's happening, from the dog to the cat to the boss to the job, you know, if you can do enough of that, and especially because we do a pretty good job of convincing ourselves that stuff matters more than us. Mm-hmm. But the reality is if I am if I'm the highest and best version of myself, then that is now extended to everything and everyone that I touch. But if there's something missing, there's something lacking, there's something that's out of alignment, then everything that I touch and everything that touches me, I mean, it's a natural law. I can't really get around it. I can't give what I don't have.
And it's normal to have days where you just like, oh God, not today. You know, it's just part of the process. Like I was telling you earlier, you know, I hit my girlfriends up. I was like, I don't want to be a rock star anymore. What the hell is wrong with you? You know, I don't feel like it today. I want to be a rock star. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be anything.
So Lyric, look, I know you're interviewing me, but I'm going to ask you. So what are the options? On the days that you decide you don't want to be a rock star, then what are the other options?
Girl, I don't have no other options. I had to get myself together real fast. I always tell people, now see, this is the pot calling the kettle black. I always tell people, look, I'm only going to give you 60 seconds to have that pity party. Mm-hmm. I'm giving you the 60 seconds because you're a female. We have a little bit of emotional piece to us, you know. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds. I'm going to come back, and then we're going to keep moving. Because there are no other options, you know. But it's part of it, and it's okay. It's okay that you, like, it's an emotion. The thing is, right in between here and here, when you make the decision, all right, now that that's over, you know, just wipe it off. You got to know I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I got to know. And then, let me tell you something. This is what I think everybody needs. I don't know who your good girlfriends are. I'm not sure. I'm not saying you got to divorce them. But you need to find you a group of women that are just as ambitious as you, a group of women that are entrepreneurs, a group of women that will say, hey, the hell you mean you don't want to be a rock star? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know, that would check you. Like, oh, you having a moment. You might want to get over it.
I call it surrounding yourselves with other giraffes. I love giraffes. I collect them. I have them all over my house. And part of my fixation with giraffes is they are able to see. You know, I liken giraffes to visionaries. They're able to see, to hear, to breathe at higher levels than most other mammals. And that's exactly what you're talking about. You've got to have a community of achievers around you that can hold you accountable, so that when you do, not if you do, but when you do, that they're able to see, but Lyric, look at what's ahead. Lyric, but look at what's coming. But Lyric, look at what you've been working for. Okay, cry, get back up. We've got to keep going. So I am very big on surrounding myself with other giraffes, with visionaries, with people that, you know, have clarity of purpose. Not only people that have influence, but people that have clarity of purpose, because they help hold you accountable. Because think about it. If you were a giraffe and all your friends are turtles, right?
Not turtles.
You're running around as a giraffe in a community of turtles, then guess what the turtles do? They let you off the hook, Lyric. They say it was too hard anyway. I don't know who you thought you were thinking you were going to build a rock star brand. Really, if you don't go back and get that good government job, if they'll still have you, and that's real. That is real. You know, I've done so much inner work. I become uncomfortable around people that don't have vision for their lives.
And don't it stick out like a sore thumb?
You know how they start to say things like, they have a good job. And, you know, I even had one tell me, I don't understand what all this talking is about vision and purpose. And people ought to just be happy. People should just be happy where they are with what they have. If people just get up and go to work every day, they have what they need. And I'm just sitting here, I am like about to implode because I'm like, oh my God.
What? You don't have any vision and purpose?
And they're very passionate. and they run in packs, and they're very packed because they all feed the same low achieving, low vibing, low feeding behavior. That's why they run in packs, right? When we're in the company of giraffes, everything is about what is to come. Everything is about how we move from that current state to that desired state. What are the activities that we need to be engaged in? What are the skills that we need to be learning? What's the mindset that we need to have? What do the winners think about? What are winners reading? What do they do? You know, you become consumed with where it is that you're going. And I often say you got to be in two places, like living in duality. You got to be in two places at one time. I'm here and I'm facing a current reality that's not so great. But one of the ways that I'm able to even manage where I am today is because I know that I'm headed somewhere else. Where I am is not the only place that I plan to be for the rest of my days.
Exactly.
And so even as entrepreneurs, really having those goals, even the small steps, the baby steps, everything is about the movement forward. Celebrate those small successes, move forward. Celebrate the small success, achieve the goal, move forward. And once you've done that, you know, for a period of time, then when you get into those slumps that you're talking about, you're able to go back and say, now, wait a minute. I've been from here to here. I've done that. I've accomplished this from that. Girl, if you don't draw your eyebrows on and put on some perfume and get on up from here, go down where you know better. You can't even stay down. You try to get down, you can't even stay down.
You can't stay there.
You can't even stay down.
You can't. But I like that whole turtle and giraffe thing. So next time I hear somebody, you know, talking in the negative, I'll be like, girl, you a turtle.
Call it turtle talk.
Turtle talk. Girl, that's just turtle talk. You know what? I'm going to recognize them turtles. I like that because I really, really like that Stefani, giraffe and the turtle. I'm like, girl, you a turtle. You know why?
It's crazy because a couple of years ago, I read the book Instincts by Bishop Jakes, and he actually preached an entire sermon series around this issue of turtles and giraffes. And Larry, one night I was in my bed. He was on Oprah's master class. And he said one thing, and this was probably 3 or 4 years ago, that has like stuck with me. I mean, I've started a giraffe collection since he said this one line. And he said, as a giraffe, never explain to a turtle a giraffe decision. They don't see what you see. They don't hear what you hear.
I like that.
He said that, and I literally sat up in the bed, and I said, that's what it is. That's why I feel this I'm a giraffe, and I'm trying to explain my decisions and my feelings as a giraffe, as a visionary, as a leader, as an innovator to a turtle.
Girl, we don't want no turtles. Y'all got turtles around you? Get rid of them.
Turtle talk. And he said that, and like I said, that's been years ago, and that message just really stuck with me. And I began to collect giraffes. I have them everywhere. I even started an organization, Lyric, here, based in the Metroplex for female entrepreneurs called Gathering of the Giraffes. And we would meet and do empowerment events quarterly. And it was a place for new entrepreneurs because I knew how important it was to be surrounded by other people on a similar journey, to be supported and to know this is what's ahead, or, you know, just the right information, the right people, the right conversations, the right impartations. Those things were so important. And so when I really started out on this journey, I started the Gathering of the Giraffes, and I've really been trying to figure out how even now to really move that piece into the Transformation Living Systems brand. Because, you know, when you grow, you evolve. So things change. So sometimes, you know, you start in one way or you start in one space and then it becomes something else. So I've even been thinking recently, you know, how do I really bring that full circle to now this Transformation Living Systems brand? Very powerful. Very powerful.
Got you. Wow. Well, Stefani, we are coming up on the end of our actual broadcast. And I always ask each lady this one question at the end of the show. If you were not transforming lives, okay, this is not what Stefani does anymore. There's no boundaries. There's no, it won't work. There's no money concerns. What would Stefani be doing?
Oh,
if there was no failure, no option to fail, and you're not transforming lives, what would Stefani do?
Believe it or not, my husband and I are magic in the kitchen. We have a lot of fun in the kitchen. And so I don't know that it will be a restaurant, so to speak, but we would definitely be doing something fun with food involved.
Like a reality cooking show?
Possibly. That's why I don't think it would even necessarily be like a typical restaurant, but it would definitely be something centered around food, around fun, around entertaining. It's just something we both enjoy. And so it would be something around something along those lines.
Got you. Okay. Well, I sure appreciate you taking the time to come out. Ladies, if you are interested, Stefani has got some free goodies for you. So we want you to head on over to lifeandtimes360.com. That's www.lifeandtimes360.com. Head on over there. She has some free goodies for you. And, like every week, I always make sure that you guys have access to all the free goodies from all of my guests. And you know what, Stefani? I'm just so super excited that you allowed us to interview you today, because we really need that. Those that transform lives have been transformed themselves. And so you're the real deal.
It never stops. It never stops.
Right, exactly. But the fact that somebody who's thinking or wants to, or maybe not, they're able to hear you say, hey, I do it, you can do it. So you go on over to our go girl each other, right? Introduce yourself, say who you are, where you are. A community to help each other grow and not, be turtles, right? Well, no turtles in the group, please. No turtles in the group. Stefani said no turtles. No turtles in the group. So I appreciate you guys for showing up each and every week. For the life and times of a female entrepreneur, what goes on behind the scenes, the good, the bad, and the not so rock stars. And I love you for that, for showing up. All right. So we'll see you guys next time. Stefani, thank you so much. And I know you guys take care of the little ones, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Next time.